Hi, I'm Brianna, a homeschool mom to 2 kids, and my third is just a baby still, so not quite there yet. But today I wanted to talk about homeschool planners. And I just got one I'll be unboxing, and then there's another one that I have been using for the past year, but the one I'm unboxing I'm really excited about. And sorry I sound a little bit sick. We went to a friend's cabin, and it was amazing. And we came back, and my middle one had a temp. And I was like, oh, because we all know that once one has a temp, it's only a matter of time before everybody else gets sick. And so, like, it has ravaged our household. Having a sick baby, I think people don't understand when you're like, oh, it's just a cold, whatever. But having a sick baby means that their nose is plugged, and so they can't eat, which means they're mad and they don't want to sleep, and which means like you're up all night even if you're sick. And holy Hannah, it's not for the weak, but we're making it through. We're kind of on the other side of it. I'm just kind of struggling with my voice a little bit, but look, there's not many times I get chances to do videos. I do them at night when the kids are asleep. You can probably hear all the crickets. So I am taking this opportunity, but I am going to be showing 2 different planners, one I've used, one I haven't, and there's a pretty big price difference between them. I'd say one I just got from Amazon, and one is one that I've heard about a ton, and I don't know, I'm really excited to see it and to use it because I have looked at YouTube videos, I have scoured Amazon, I've scoured Etsy, I have looked for things that would fit for our family, and I wanted it for more than one kid because I'm schooling 2 kids right now. And I just also wanted a layout that works nicely. I'm a big time planner girl, so even with like my personal life and work and stuff, like I love planners, as nerdy as that sounds, but so I'm like really particular with it, and I know it's like pretty type A, but I just love a good planner. Okay, I like to feel organized in amongst all the chaos of mom life, work life, homeschool life, running a house, etc., what have you. So first I am going to do the little bit of unboxing. Like, how fun. I ripped open the tape, but I have not opened it yet. So believe me if you want, but it's the truth. All right, so here we go. We are unboxing this, and this planner I got from Etsy. They do have a website, and I think it comes packaged differently from their website. I'm not quite sure. Maybe it doesn't. But here we are. We're opening our tissue paper. We have our invoice, and I'll go over how much that was. We have a little, I mean, it's like a handwritten note, but it's mass produced. You know what I mean? And then we have our, I'm so excited to open this. I feel like if you would have told like college Brianna, you're going to be so excited to open a homeschool planner, she would have laughed at you. But I'm so excited. Okay. Oh, I probably should have ripped the plastic off beforehand, because I don't know about you guys, but I'm not ashamed to say a lot of times I use my teeth. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'd have to use my teeth for you guys. You're so welcome. It's probably gonna be super loud. Okay. So this, I actually really like it's the small details that count, right? Like I love, this is the box. This isn't even the planner. This is the box. So cute. So we open this box. Christmas morning, you guys. Ah. So we take out our little planner, and I think on their website they say like this is a keepsake box, so you can put the planner back in here for storage and stuff. And I mean, maybe, we'll see. Okay, so here is our beautiful planner, the Well-Ordered Homeschool. And it is a hardcover and has flowers and everything. And this is the one for 2025 to 2026. And I believe it starts July 2025. And we're in August right now. It just started August, so perfect for us. And they do also have one that looks a little different. It's like a navy blue color, and that is an undated one. And so if that's your jam, that's your jam. We have our little pockets here to hold stuff in, which I never thought I needed until doing homeschool. Like, I do have loose leaf paper that I put in these things and stuff that I'm changing up that I just want to grab really quick. So, small detail, but very cool. Cover page, who this planner belongs to. Me, of course. Mapping out your vision, curriculum plan, yearly overview, loop schedule, daily master schedule, stuff to memorize, field trips, family read aloud books, independent reading list, monthly overview page, weekly planning page, reflections page, and attendance record. And sorry, I'm sick. You know this. Attendance record, that is one that I really did want in the book because we try to plan plan to school 5 or 6 days a week. And in the summer right now, you know, a lot of kids are off for summer break, but we still are trying to do it. And we're right now kind of doing only like 3 to 4 days a week. And I was kind of feeling down on myself about that. So I really like this attendance record just so I can keep track of that and make sure that we are on par with that, and just that I feel better about that, you know. Move over a little bit so we can kind of see the open pages. So we have our years at a glance, 2025, 2026. And I actually really like these pages. A lot of times I'll rip these out and like hang them on the wall and like circle special dates and where we should be at certain times. That's just me. Space to dream, like a little jot down everything you want. And then a map out our vision. And it's really cool because you circle some words that you want your school year to look like. And they have a whole list of words like exciting, hands-on, lovely, classical, intense, peaceful, calm. And so, I mean, I don't know who would really circle intense, but it's there. But yeah, that's really cool. And then the next 3 boxes, pick your top 3 words, write them below along with some ideas on how you can implement that throughout the year. And then down here, we're answering questions on, in the future, what do you hope your children will say about your homeschooling experience? What do you hope they will say about you as a homeschooling mom? Which is something that keeps me up at night. And then the 3rd box says, what one thing can you change right now to help your vision into a reality? And so I love that. Like, it kind of is a little bit of that like manifesting woo-woo stuff, which I am all about. And then we have our curriculum plan, and I believe, yes, so this book is for up to 5 children. So this repeats itself 5 times. I'm only using it twice this year. Eventually I'll be using it 3 because I'll have, you know, my baby will grow up and be doing school. But for each kid, they have the curriculum plan and what we're doing here. And so you can kind of jot down what you're doing for your art, foreign language, geography, history, language arts, math, music, narration, memorization, religion, science, and other. And then on the next page, you write them in for all those things that I just said. And that repeats itself 5 times. So if you have 5 kids doing school, that's what you'll do. And then we have our yearly overview. And this also repeats itself 5 times. So 1 for each kid. And so it has first quarter, week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 9. Second quarter, all the way through week 9. And so you can kind of like write in these boxes like what you really want to focus on each week for the whole year. And I love that because I feel like it's a great overview on where we want to be, just to kind of keep us on track and make sure, you know, we're doing things we want to be doing. So that repeats itself 5 times. And then it has the loop schedule page. And when I first saw this, like when I started homeschooling a while back, I was hesitant about like loop schedules. I was like, it sounds like it's a way, people make it sound like it's okay, what's an easier way to get things done? And to me, it was like, now I got to keep track of this. But in my experience, a loop schedule is the way to go. And I have videos on that if you want to check it out, on like my burnout type stuff. And a lot of it was like I was trying to do too much every single day. And so I did implement a loop schedule, and it has been life-saving for us. We love our loop schedule. I mean, we have like Mondays is coding, Tuesdays is geography, Wednesdays is social studies. And sometimes, especially in the summer, that can kind of be a lot. And so if we don't get to our coding on Monday, we'll move it to Tuesday, which is what the loop is. And so it gives you like your 1 through 8, all the things that you want to loop. And it has these like check boxes for the core, non-core, what they're doing, any resources that you need for the subjects in your loop. And so I really like that, just as a nice reminder of what we'll be doing. And it has that for each kid too. We like to do our loop as like a family type schedule. And so we only use one loop page, but it has enough for each kid. And then we have our daily master schedule. And again, they have 5 of these, one for each kid. And it has Monday every half hour from 6:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., Monday through Friday. And I actually really, really like this too. We try to get our stuff done in the mornings, and it's nice to kind of like know where we should be at. And then in the afternoons, we do our loop schedule stuff. And we're a little bit more flexible with that, but it's nice to have something written down. So even if I don't follow the time exactly, like I'll know what we have to do and have to get done. So there are those, 5 of those. And then we have our 2 memorize pages. And they have 5 boxes for every month of the year. And I'm not quite sure that we'll like actually really use this page, just because we're pretty young still and not quite there yet. I mean, we could be memorizing like sight words and stuff, but we use Logic of English, which I'm sure I don't have people that watch all my videos. But if you do, I talk about Logic of English in every single video because I adore them. I'm obsessed with them. I have a link for that if you want to check that out. Excuse me. I was holding that cough in for a good like 3 minutes. Sorry. I'm telling you, we never get sick, and that is one of the beautiful things about homeschooling. But like when we go out with other people and like spend a weekend with other people, it happens, and it's part of being a parent. But in my opinion, sidebar, that is one of the great things about homeschooling too, because my kids did do like public preschool like every other day for like an hour or 2, and we were sick constantly. And so it feels really good to not be sick all the time. But when we are, I'm like such a baby about it. All right. Back to it. Page 4, field trips. And this, again, is another one where I wouldn't think to put this in there, but it is extremely helpful because it has like where to, date, cost, address, website, and then notes about it. And I don't know, I think it's super helpful to plan field trips because sometimes we take them a ton. Sometimes we're like, okay, we're going to go to the zoo, and then we're going to go to like Fonderosa Wildlife Center, and then we're going to go to this nature park. But sometimes I forget, especially in the winter when we're not doing as many like nature and outdoor things. So I like to keep track of this and know what we're doing. And we are joining a co-op group this fall that has like field trips planned. And so this will be really helpful for that, for me to like keep track of when we're going and what we have to do. So they have 2 pages for the field trips, front and back. And then we have our family read aloud books. And I like this page too because we do have chapter book series that we really love to read. And I've talked about these again and other stuff, but we love the Dragon Master series, which is a really good chapter book series. They have like 28 or 29 books, and so plenty to get, really engraved in the story. But they are for ages, I think it's like kindergarten to second or third grade, and so very kid friendly, and we really, really like those. And then we also really like the Magic Tree House series, and that is one that my grandma is doing with them. And so my parents come over almost every day for daycare while, we're working and stuff. And so she does the Magic Tree House series with them and does like a study guide with them and stuff. So that's really fun for them. We are also into that like 52 story Treehouse series. And that one's a little bit sillier. And it's still for kids, but it's a little bit like, I don't know, they say, like hate and like dead and stuff. And we don't really use those words, so I end up censoring it a lot. And then, big sidebar, but I adore, millennial baby here, the Goosebumps series. And I just wanted to collect the vintage books because on like Amazon, they have all new cover art. And I was like, no, enough of that. And so I really started collecting from like thrift stores and Etsy and whatever, the vintage covers. And so they're too young to read that, but we look at the cover art. And I told my kids we can read that once we're like 10. And so they're fine with that. We just like to kind of collect them right now. But it's really nice to have a space for what we're reading throughout the year. And so we can kind of keep track of that and see how many books we've read. And then for each kid, so 5 pages, we have the independent reading list. So what books they're reading by themselves. And I like this too because every night we try to have them each read. Right now it's just little readers because they're 4 and 7. So they're reading little reader books to me, and then I'll continue on with like the chapter book of the night. And so I like this. We have the child's name at the top so I can keep track of like what they're reading and how it's kind of progressing. And I think that might be it for like the kind of prep stuff. We have a space for notes here. And then we get into our months, and it's super pretty. We have all the flowers here. And then I believe every month has like a different color on this page. So we have like a pinky purpley, a green, an olive type color, orange, and so on. And then each month also has its own flower down here. So like, I don't know if you can see super well, but like the flowers that are on the page for July, it's a different flower every month. And I think that's really cute. That's a really cute detail. And so November is like this pretty little flower. But yeah, okay, so in the beginning of each month, we have our overview, top 3 goals, my quote or verse for the month, character focus, brain dump, to-do list, and purchase list. And then we have our, calendars. And I like that it's broken up into like this every month instead of like, the calendar squares, all 12 of them or however many there are. And then the weeks, I like that it's broken up like this so that I can keep track of my month and then my like days of the week and then go, that's probably sounds confusing, but then we have our week schedule. And so this is June 30th to July 6th. And they start with Monday, which, small detail, but I love that. Because when it starts with a Sunday, it just kind of feels like it's taking up empty space. Because, not a lot of us are doing schools on Sunday. And so it's really nice to start with Monday. And they have space here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They have 7 spaces here with like the dots here. And so what I usually end up doing is I'll kind of like cut it in half, and I'll do like my first kid, what we're doing, my second kid, what we're doing. And then I have our loop schedule on the other page. But so they have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then they have Saturday and Sunday here, which is nice because sometimes we have like field trips or vacations or stuff we want to do on the weekend. And so it's nice they have spots for that too. It goes on like that for all of the weeks of the month. And then they have their reflections page. And so like 1 to 10, how did it go for the month? Why? List 3 homeschool successes you had in July. List 3 things you'd like to improve for the next month. Something I'm thankful for, something memorable, and then like a personal habits tracker. So, I mean, if you wanted to get certain things done, you can track them here. And then a notes page, double-sided, and then you are on to your next month. And so I'm really excited to use this. And then I'll kind of flip to the back, our student records sheets. So we have our grading sheet. We don't super use this because my kids are so young, but it has like date, assignment, points possible, points earned, and then like the letter grade. And they have 5 of those, 1 for each kid. Actually, I think they have more than 5. But then, I'm excited to use this. We have our attendance record. And so it kind of goes like July, August, September, October, all the way through like June on the top, and then 1 through 31 at the bottom. And so you can kind of keep a tally at the bottom, like how many days each month that they did school. And I don't know the requirements for everybody or the requirements for older ages on attendance. For me, with my kids being so young, I like to keep attendance just to kind of see how many days that we're doing school and to keep track of that. And these are one-sided, so if you ever did have to like turn them into anybody, you know, you're not having like kid A on one side and kid B on the second. So that's really nice. And then yeah, that is the end of the book. Super nice hardcover book. And I don't know if I mentioned it, but I actually do have a link for this as well because I was so excited to try it and I've seen so many really, really great things about it. And so I kind of stalked them a little bit and got a code for this. And so that is in my like description if you want to check that out because I think it is super, super amazing. This one is a little bit more expensive. I believe it was like $58 or $59. But in my opinion, well worth it. It's for, I mean, what is it? July to June. So end of June. So it's for a whole entire year, basically. Another thing that I did like about this, which might not be important to a lot of people, but we are a secular homeschooling family. And this one didn't have any like scriptures or faith-based stuff in it, which, I mean, doesn't really matter. It's a planner. Like, I'm not having to skip over it. I'm just kind of, you know, flipping through it. So whatever. But it was a little bit strange, I thought, because when I was looking for planners, it felt like everything on Etsy and everything on Amazon did have a lot of faith-based stuff on it. So take it or leave it, you know, whatever. But this was my purchase that I made from Amazon after looking at a bunch. And I mean, kind of to relate to that, this one does have a lot of like scripture faith-based stuff. I don't super care. I can just flip through it. But, I mean, side note, I guess. But this one was called A Simple Plan for the Homeschooling Family Planner. And this one was like $30 on Amazon. So not terrible. Like, it was a pretty good price. And it's pretty hefty. And we did really like it. I'm really excited to use our other one. But this one worked. You know what I mean? Like, this one worked. So it has like what's included calendar, student plans, monthly plans, weekly, student records, and extras. So I'll kind of go through this a little bit quicker because this is one that, you know, we're not using as much anymore. So this one, it shows like sample pages and like how to fill them out. which I think is kind of helpful, just so, I don't know, you kind of know what you're doing. So this one did have like our yearly overview pages like the other one did. Kind of a lot of them. And then I had our student weekly schedule here. Not as great of a layout, I don't think, but it still had like time, every day of the week, subject, curriculum. And then it has our, same as the other one, our yearly overview with all the quarters and week 1 through 9. And then it kind of like repeats that. And so I think this one was for 2 kids, I believe. And this one started in July of 2024. So I'll kind of go through that a little bit. But it has the things to accomplish, special activities, reading list, supplies needed, prayer requests and answers, websites. And then I think in the beginning of every thing, like every month, it has like a scripture here, which, whatever. Easy to skip through if you don't like it. Pretty if you do like it. And then it has our monthly layout. And then kind of same as the other one, it has our Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday with our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes here. So I split them in half and kind of use it one for each kid. I'll probably show you an example because I did use this one a lot. And then we have our like, it doesn't have a Saturday or Sunday, but it had a notes. And so I kind of split that into like Saturday, Sunday. So it has that for each day of the week. And then our future planning page. And so that's how that one was laid out. Oh my gosh. I'm just looking for an example and my planning is so messy. I'm like embarrassed to even show it. But I'll flip through and like find an example. Don't judge me. But this was kind of like how I wrote in it. So it kind of like split it up into each kid. Like this was my 7-year-old's section and this is my 4-year-old section. It's going to be 5. And then like again on this side, and then I did like Saturday and then Sunday. So that's kind of how I split it up. And then I want to see if they have any extras at the back here. So for this one, their attendance record kind of looked like this. You'd have to kind of like circle the days, which nothing wrong with that, but I just really liked how the other one was laid out. So it has those. And then it has our curriculum tracker back here for all the curriculums that you did. And then their grading chart. And this one, the other one is a lot like thicker, nicer quality pages. This one has a kind of a flimsy front and like not as thick pages, which is not super important to me, but I do like the nice quality of the other one. The grading chart for this one, like it says grading chart up here, but I think you're supposed to flip it like this. And it says number of incorrect answers versus number of problems. It sounds kind of confusing to me. But if it's not confusing to you, then that's great. It has like a lot more faith-based stuff here, like the ways of salvation and some testimony stuff. Suggested scripture to memorize. And then it has the extracurricular activities listed down here, which is nice, but I like how the other one had it laid out better. And then we just have some empty notes pages. So there's that. And then they do have like stickers with this one. And I feel like when I was in college, I used to be a big time like sticker my planner person. And I guess I do really like the option, but I don't ever end up actually using them. It has grade assignments, to do, prep. And so they could be helpful. I don't usually end up using them, but they are there. So those are the 2 planners that I have gotten for homeschool. One I just unboxed, haven't used yet. super excited for. One I did use for a year and it worked. There's nothing wrong with it. I just think like on to bigger and better. You know what I mean? So hopefully this is helpful, and